Salutations. This is a chance for us to, I think, definitely go a little bit not cookie cutter and off the trails just a little bit into something I think that's very prevalent. And I want to give Tony Rodriguez that spoke with him again at Journey to the Truth conference about 3 months ago. And we were just sitting there talking, and he had said something. And it triggered something in me, and something that I've had some experience with and been told stuff. So much stuff we get during our experience, information that comes through, to where I even tuned in a little bit later on after I got done talking to see what I picked up again. And this was him saying that when during the slave trade that he was involved in, one of the things that they were really after, what these organizations were really after, were the beings that had the ability to use stone technology, to manipulate stone, as in terms of passing through it, merging with it, maybe using it as a power source, but more they could just have the ability to manipulate stone. And that was one of the most valuable technologies that these slave traders are trying to obtain for beings that are probably higher vibrational or further out, galactic, who knows. But when dealing with that, because before, when I was younger, I had taken interest in some of the ships that I had seen that were going, not just going into the mountains, those could be bases, but also they go down into the ground. I know that's got part to do with the deep biosphere, but also why is it that they're using it? What I picked up a lot is that granite has something to do with it. And that granite is primarily quartz and also silicon. Some other things. Those are the two main pieces of granite. And granite has other mystical properties concerning healing, and it's been dealt with by different cultures for a long time. And you can look that up. And, cross-referencing that with David Pauletti's, he has talked a lot about these underground aquifers, but also the granite, how there's a lot of granite around a lot of these missing 411 cases. Large pieces, large sites of granite. So that's just something to take into, that's one part I want to take into this, all right? And what I start picking up from my experiences and from information given is, one, this is, it's very much connected to these organic craft. And we must remember the organic craft and the conscious craft aspect that I've spoken about so much, and the sentient conscious ability of these craft and how some of them might be, all right, and to be spacefaring organisms that may have been born on asteroids or something that deal. So that's more to think about there. So not just the beings that would be able to bore through rock naturally, but also those beings that are based on silicon and have silicon a part of them and their makeup. Whole other thing going on. Silicon in the craft as well, and how they might be able to symbiotically merge with granite and certain rocks. And it's so interesting because what I kept picking up is like a type of organic stone in vitro, like a type of in vitro, that it's the same mathematical computations, the same thing that when you see actually a sperm permeate the egg, how it goes through and shares the information, but at the molecular level. When we look at science fiction and silicon life forms, it kind of takes us into what Doctor Who was one, the older Doctor Who with Tom Baker. I remember they had one, Eldrad from Castrian, I think it was called the Hand of Fear, and he was a silicon life form that could regenerate. I remember the Doctor had said that one, and also there's another one on there, the Key of Time series, the Orgry, the Stones of Blood, the Ogre, they were also silicon life forms. And he had mentioned that, they're very difficult to kill. So, food for thought on that. But going forward with that and silicon, and how actually I think it's more to this in vitro thing that I mentioned with like silicon nodules and how that might be going on with the granite itself. All right, and that they're actually using what we should call phase technology, which again takes us into another science fiction show, Star Trek. TNJ, the next generation, there was an episode called the next phase, I believe, and it's where Geordie LaForge with his his beret, his female beret that he wore for the glasses, and him and Ensign Rowe, the Bajoran, they got like in an explosion that left them not just cloaked, but they were phased. They were able to kind of go through walls and stuff, you know, and it was a different situation. And I think at the molecular level, we're dealing with the phase technology quite similar, more similar to that. And so that's, you know, food for thought again when dealing with the type of life forms, the different molecular structure, and also phase technology. Combining all this together and seeing how some of these, you know, extraterrestrial craft are doing that. So a lot of times we might be looking at the sentience of the craft itself as opposed to even the occupants. So food for thought on that. The quasi-crystal is going to be a big part of that also. The quasi-crystals, as also even granite also has a quartz crystal type of component to it. So that's another thing when I've talked about the skin of these craft and what they're actually constructed of. Another way they could be doing something similar to that. And you know, that's almost a type of transportation or transporter technology. Actually taking energy into matter and then matter back into energy. All of these things connect with what we're seeing here, and think about that, the stone technology. I think it's quite fascinating. So food for thought on that, definitely. Just another thing for us to think about that's outside of the box. But something that does go on, especially when dealing with these type 3, 4, and 5 civilizations. I want to thank everybody from Patreon. That's why these videos are being made. Please put a like on this, hit the bell, subscribe, share these videos, help me beat the shadow ban. Have much energy and food for thought to all. Peace.